not include
I know,
ground
the
clearing.
wrought iron.
The painting was, not the repair.
Yeah, they're in
no
really bad
repairs.
shape.
Is
Okay.
there a way you can section the painting of doing like the walls and repairs with the wrought iron and then leaving those back view fences for like,
One of the
give
options is,
homeowners time to clear out their bushes and do that separately?
like behind, I don't think we can touch that area. But what they may be able to do is to pick areas that we can do,
That are easily
make that into a
accessed?
project. And then so we say to the other people, do you want us to go in there and clear this all out? Are you guys happy with the way it is? Whatever, but
Some of those areas are protected, and we can't, we're not supposed to touch them. It's a protected desert area. It has to do with the 404. I bring my notes on, I apologize, but that's why I think we're gonna have to get a, what kind of engineer is it? What's that?
A variance?
Yeah, variance, some type of engineer to come in here and really see where our tracks start and where that ends and the other one starts. So we don't have landscapers going in, taking out desert landscaping that wasn't supposed to be touched.
there's two or three approaches. We could look at all of the areas that are kind of open and not a problem and say, do those, and then keep dealing with them, or we could say, let's go for broke. I mean,
I think your reserve study will help with that.
well, the
Well,
paint
identify-
is in the reserve, but I don't know if it's,
Yeah.
Oh,
if it's up to date in cost. But it's probably not.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not up to date in cost, but I'm
Especially if
saying
we
is,
have to go in and clear it all. And
you know,
then
the
repair all
at
the
least
others.
find out exactly what you will.
We have a back, one question? Yes.
You're talking about paint, but you're already talking about taking shrubs away and clearing it. Shouldn't that be the landscaping? Shouldn't we make 4 Peaks do it since they've done such a lousy job anyway?
We will probably have to have a landscape company do it.
Like hold their checkers.
But it's within, it has to be done within the guidelines. We can't just clear everything away. There's certain
We
areas
gotta
that are
find out
protected.
what we can remove and what we
But
don't.
we didn't even get price on that.
No, I agree. I agree.
But
I
4
think we
Peaks
should
are
just
already
paint
paying.
what's visible.
Pardon?
We're paying 4 Peaks. Why aren't they doing some of that?
No, I'll call 4 Peaks. How's that? I'll call them and find out. Okay? Is that?
I'm sorry, Michelle, yes?
You know, also, in Fort Peaks, you know, they're out and about and that. I noticed a lot of the little brown things in the ground, where the valves are.
Valve boxes?
That's what we were talking
We were talking about that earlier.
Oh, they're.
All the tops are off.
The tops are off big time, and every time I go by, I put tops on. But as you said, a lot of those bolts are broken.
Yep.
And I know they have
They're
those big
missing,
bolts.
yeah, I've got big 3/8.
They should be
Yeah.
held accountable. We've been paying them all this time. They should be held accountable, or don't pay them this next month. Tell them to get this stuff caught up and then give them a check.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So Ken, are you making, I'm sorry.
I
what
made
is
a
your-
motion that we nominate Kim and John for the paint committee, and somebody else needs to jump in and help.
Who wants to, we're naming chairs. Who do you want to appoint as the board chair? Is Kim, it would be Kim as the board chair.
Kim Clover and John Bartlett.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, ARC.
Okay, ARC.
I'm
We
sorry.
got 9 members
Wait,
that want to be on the ARC committee.
Can I make a quick comment?
Yes, please.
Sure, John.
I have a valve box in my front yard. When it rains, it fills up with water and the top floats off. Possibly that's happening on some of these other boxes.
Could be.
If
I
that would be,
my
if the
valve
bolt
box-
is broken, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. The bolt.
And I'll be honest with you, I think, and I'm not trying to defend anyone, I think that's probably what caused a pressure on that manhole cover. Because you're saying there was a lot of water in there, it could have pushed that off.
Just a note that
Yeah,
rain causes that.
I'm with you. Okay, I'm sorry, so we're looking at the ARC committee. Who are the 9 people on the ARC committee?
Myself, Nancy Palmer, Mark Denton, Jason Simchak, Matt Burnell, Chris, is that Chris Robertson?
Yep.
Okay, Brett Veldhausen, Dean Taylor, Aaron Moore.
Perfect. So there's 2 board members on that list. Who are you suggesting as the
Well,
chair?
we were just discussing, we're willing to co-chair. If you need to be, I'll do it, and I'll use him as my helper. How's that?
Works for me. I will second that.
Can I ask a question?
Sure, please. Oh, I'm sorry, that's right, we have a second, now we'll open it up for discussion.
What's the purpose of this committee, the ARC committee?
The art committee receives any architectural requests. Anybody who is building, anyone who wants to paint, anyone who wants to make any exterior changes. The rules, as far as what needs to be covered, is in our documents, but those are submitted to the management company. The management company will then disperse those to the art committee that will review them to make sure that they're consistent with our rules and regs, and then they will determine a yes or a no vote on those. When I say rules and regs, our architectural designs, our CCNR, make sure everything is correct. And bless you, whoever sneezed.
So we're proposing a committee of 9?
Which is an odd number, yes.
Seems pretty big.
Yeah, I think it's too big.
And that means 5 have to meet and agree. And I see nobody has put, hardly anybody has put down either phone numbers or emails. So all of you who must be here, you'll need to fill that in if we're gonna start functioning.
I recommend the board that you limit it to 5, just for expediency and efficiency, so the thing will function. Because trying to get 5 votes for, I don't know, it just seems a little overhead, unnecessary overhead.
He wants to pick 5 less members instead of having 9.
Well, let's ask then, of the 9 people that signed up, are there any that signed up half-heartedly as opposed to wholeheartedly?
How many are even here?
I'm sorry?
How many are even here?
Well, yeah, how many that signed are here? Nancy, are you here?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, I'm sorry, I see a hand all the way back. Oh, I got you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 are here.
Mark has to, he just texted me.
He wants to be on it,
Yes.
okay? So we don't have anyone who wants to
We don't have
voluntarily.
any volunteer.
It has to be,
Well,
it would have to be 2 people to exit, yes, I'm sorry.
but didn't you say you just need 5 in total to make the decisions?
Right.
A
Okay.
majority, that would be a majority of the 9, yes.
So that could still work if you're not expecting all 9 to,
If they can't make it.
If some aren't
to the meeting,
available, then you still have a quorum with 5.
I have a waving hand all the way back.
I'm willing to just be the alternate.
Well, but
Well, and you have to have at least 3 in an alternate, right?
if somebody else drops out, you'll be an alternate.
Okay.
So
That'll drop 2.
I don't want to create a problem, I'm just making a suggestion. If it can function with 9 people on it, have at it, just make it work, that's it.
I think it
Okay?
will. I mean, it didn't work before, and very quickly, because people weren't available, the board had to pair the number.
Okay,
That's likely to happen.
all right.
Okay, so we have a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Nominating committee, how many are on that list?
Where are we on nominating?
We had 4, and you already said yes. Because it came up earlier.
No, we have 3.
That did come up earlier.
Yeah.
I already took care of it.
Well, we talked about it. Did we actually
We
nominate?
did not vote on it, we said we were going to vote on it with the rest of them, so.
Okay, right now we have Chris Clover, Debbie Pearson, and Kim Clover, and Chris Robertson.
Okay, well, Tim is the only board member.
Pearson.
Debbie Pearson.
Is that
Right.
Debbie? What did I say?
Two.
So the only board member on there is Kim, so by default, she's the chair.
That's
I
right.
will make a motion that we accept the 3. Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Event, I have no idea
Did
we
we get anybody that wanted to do events? This is kind of a soft committee. They're kind of allowed to do whatever they'd like to do. And,
You want to read the?
well,
The
they're
whole
talking
events and
about,
activities.
4th of July, Easter egg hunt.
So basically, you like community events that
Anything
you
that.
would like to bring our community together and actually have a
Chili
community.
cook-off.
Chili cook-offs, Easter stuff, whatever, you know what I mean? To put that committee together and
How many people do we have?
He's making a sales pitch. He's on the list.
How many other are
And
there?
Debbie Pearson, too.
Two.
I say, let's have a motion. Let him go.
Let's make a motion to accept the two that are on there.
Yep.
Second? Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Archive.
Okay, archive. Remember we had the discussion of the 1,500 cases of records that AAM claimed it was in Iron Mountain?
I don't remember it being 1,500, but I remember
Yes,
that.
my wife assures me they said 1,500. So
1,500 boxes.
1,500 boxes. Now, whether that's true or not, I don't know. I don't even know whether we actually approved them going through them and throwing them away. We don't really know. But the archive committee.
We have those in the minutes. I don't have the minutes with me. but
Anyway,
we did.
the archive committee wants to dig into that, work with PRM, because they're probably going to have to become the custodian of them. And then decide where to go with them. They'll come back to us and obviously make a recommendation. I say have at it.
Who's on the list?
Who is on the list? Where is it? Where? Well, you know, we're getting a kind of a Kim Clover, my wife Priscilla Palmer, and Lisa Denton. Thank you very much for volunteering. In addition to archives, what was the other thing? We need to have a legal look at our CCNRs and all of our written stuff to see if it is current with legal law. They are being charged to at least investigate that and see where that goes as well. So this is
That should be done every 3 years?
it's supposed to be done every 3 years, yes.
And when's the last time it was done?
I don't think we have done it.
Never been done.
Anything. So, anyway,
That needs to be
again,
done.
this committee is not being authorized to go destroy all the records, but they're gonna come back to us and say, okay, here's the problem, here's what we recommend, the board's gonna have to make a decision.
Okay. Kim is the
Kim is
board member on there?
Yep.
I say we accept it with Kim as the chair.
Aye.
What, second?
Second.
There we go. Brett seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Last committee, the budget committee.
Where is the budget? So far, we have 2 people, myself and Chris Robertson.
I make a motion, we accept it. Unless somebody else wants it.
Everybody else gonna do budgets?
No, freeze my limit.
As a CPA, I'm well enough for my systems on that as well.
Please.
I'll come fill it out.
Okay, cool. Or we gotta get your
Whatever
name.
your name is, you're on.
Yeah.
Don't leave.
So I'll make a motion. Second.
Here's a pen.
I have a motion and I have a second. Do I have anybody who opposes?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, nobody opposed it. All right. Next item on our list, only because we have 30 minutes left, guys. I just want to make sure we stay on time. Communications, interest in a community website.
You missed sandwich board.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did. I X'd everything else out. Sandwich boards. Because I got to tell you, I thought that sign for tonight's meeting was pretty tacky, so.
Well, it rained.
It rained.
And some
I didn't see
people,
any signs in the past.
some people put in the effort to actually do it, so.
Again, my wife did it, we bought the stuff and we got it and put it out for the last meeting and we put it out for this meeting.
Thank you.
Did that help you guys to remind you?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
Did we
We
have,
actually had to meet with
Let's
you.
get
Oh,
your
there a meeting? Do it now. It was on your assessment. When you got your mailing, it was on there. But I think it's a good idea. If only when the sign's up, you go, do I want to go or not?
what was the cost, Ken?
Well, we didn't investigate costs, but this was looked into in like, when you were on the board, 8, 9, 10, somewhere there. And it was in the range of a couple of $100 each. We're talking about 2 of them. It all depends on how we put the letters and stuff on it. If it's just, writing with like whiteboard or something, and they may be $150 each. If you get letters and stuff, it could be more. If we like it, and I like it, I think it's a good thing. I don't have a problem keeping it in my garage and putting them out and whatnot.
Where is the proposed placement for, I saw one at Spur.
There's one here.
Yeah.
There's one here outside, right outside here.
And then all the way
right
over.
over here.
Yeah.
And those are the two entrances, so if you come home, you'll see one of them.
You know,
I'm saying two of them. So,
I'm sorry, I'm gonna, before we open it up for discussion, I'm gonna make a motion that we accept it. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, I have somebody who had a question.
I was just gonna make a comment, basically. I just had a couple of them made up for my business, and they cost me $170.
Okay,
perfect.
That's two-sided with the big apron.
Perfect.
okay. Do you mind telling me where you got them?
Tag team signs at 99 Bell.
Perfect.
What's the name?
Tag team signs.
My wife stole my pen.
Already
Tag
have
team.
graphics, they're also full.
Tag team signs.
Only a pen.
Check your wall.
Ask for him.
That's the best one.
999.
Actually, their address is gonna be 10032.
I'm sorry, we have one more. Did you want to say something? Yeah.
I wanted to know,
Bell.
in this
Bell?
community, have we ever put a dry well for the stagnant water by the sewers? Sewers has a problem, okay? This summer, it started very early. We don't get much rain, but the water is still in that big basin, okay? I had 6 to 7 weeks of my grandchildren with me, and
I'm sorry, can I just put you up for 2 points? We're gonna come to homeowner session. I wrote it down, we'll come back to it, I promise.
if
I
it's
just wanna-
astronomical,
We have
I'll live
a
with it.
motion and a second on the board. I just want to make sure we take care of that first.
Okay, all we're
Any
gonna-
other comments on the sandwich boards?
Are we gonna spend a couple of $100 each, or do you want me to come back and tell you how much?
I think I'm making a motion that we accept the sandwich boards up to a $500 maximum for 2 cents.
And if I want more, I'll come back.
There you go.
Perfect.
All those, and we had a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, community website, I don't know if this came from my point, but we've had a lot of discussion about interpretation of what the rules are, what they are. We have had a lot of discussion about when we announce meetings, when we announce whatever. I am in favor, as we had with AAM, whether anyone knew they were there or not, all of our rules and regulations were in one spot on our community website. I would like to see that still out there. I know we've had a lot of debate, and I have not made this debate personal, but as a homeowner that moved in after several of these votes have occurred, I, as a homeowner that moved in last, I only had the documents that are online that I can enforce. If a vote was taken and it was never documented and never put in that site, how would anybody who moved in after the vote know about it? You're given a packet at your closing, you don't know. I propose that we go through and we determine what was the last vote for portable basketballs, what was the vote for whatever. If they were there, let's get them on a website where we know we've got the most up to date. The art committee, any other committee, only has the rules that are printed that they can enforce. So I want to come back to, I think having a community website, PRM kind of said that they have customer service extraordinaire. They have live people there during business hours. They respond within 24 hours for other people. I still, hold on one second, we haven't gotten there yet. I still believe that having a library of all of our rules and regulations that everyone knows, they're printed out there now, they're still open to interpretation, but at least everyone knows what the latest current version of every rule is. I am a proponent of it. The suggestion that's on our agenda is, is there interest in a community website? And I think, I don't see how we can survive or function without it. Saturday, you guys got a question, can I do something? In the evening, when you come home from work, sorry, it's after PRM closes, you want to look up a rule or a regulation. I think having the most current documents in a centralized area that everyone knows about is critical. My opinion. But we haven't opened it up yet. I want to, board discussion first, then we'll open it up.
Is that a motion?
No, that's not a motion. It's board discussion first. Does anyone disagree?
Isn't our
Yes.
CCNRs already in stone, and that is our latest and greatest information?
But there have been votes that have been taken to, for example, portable
But it doesn't
basketball.
change the CCNRs, it's
Right.
an amendment.
You can change the rules. CCNRs need to have a 75% or 65% vote of all members. But you can change the rules and regs by a vote,
By an amendment.
Yes,
by an amendment.
but to get 75% of the community to vote on something, to change that.
That's impossible.
Changing basketball hoops does not require 75%.
I know,
Changing,
but to change it in the CCNRs, you have to have 75% of the community. That's why the basketball hoops and the quarter minus and all this under the sun was an amendment. You can't put it into the CCNRs, you can't change.
no, but you can in that same area have, as we have on the AAM, on the AAM. There was, on the website, there was Amendment 1 to this, Amendment 2 to this, Amendment 3. So they were out there as amendments to the rules.
Why didn't they provide any of that information?
It's online. It's in our community site.
Well,
It
I
was in our community site.
I'm
But
wondering
AM has
too if
taken the
they would
website down.
give-
Well, okay, I'm standing not to be confrontational, but I want to make sure everyone hears this. The rules and regulations and amendments that were properly voted upon were put out on the site. There were votes and there were other items that occurred that were not put on the website, i.e. the basketball hoops that we debated with the woman at Cibola Vista. The vote was taken. It was very clear that the vote was taken. It was done in open session, not in executive session, to allow portable hoops in the front of the home with certain restrictions. So that rule was changed, but it was never put on the website. Again, I go back to, unless you're requiring are any homeowners here after 2017? 2016? There you go.
Yeah, last year.
Any of these rules that were voted on, you don't know about.
should
Because
have
they
been
weren't
in the packet.
centralized. I'm sorry?
They should have been in their packet, but I don't know if AAM did.
Exactly. Well, I don't know if all the minutes got into their packet. I'm not condemning anyone. I'm just trying to say, you don't know what you don't work. I promise, I'll get to you. Hold on. We're trying to accumulate everything so that we can live. Everyone said this in so many meetings. We all just want to be happy. We want to know what the rules are.
I understand that, I take that point. On the flip side, with PRM,
Yep.
I'll just ask you guys, is there any CCNR that is so important to where you needed to know that right then? I mean, if it was after hours, and you needed to know if you could have your RV there for 72 hours a night, is that something that could wait the next day?
Possibly.
I mean, you guys understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just don't think the CCNRs are these.
But it's the rules and regs too. It's not just CCNRs.
Right.
You want to go out and buy a basketball hoop for your son. Can I put one in front of my house? You want to be able to look that up. It's a Saturday. It's a Sunday.
But that's what you use the art committee for.
Well, you don't necessarily need the art committee. According to the minutes that were passed, the vote that was taken, it clearly states that if you're following this restriction, you don't need to go through art. That's all I'm trying to say is we need to make sure that we've got the latest rules out there, guys.
Can we just email everybody a copy? That'd be.
Well, I've got a couple hands before, and we'll come back to you, Lindsay. Yeah.
I'm not dissing either the website or not a website.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if we shouldn't hold off on getting things up on a website until the archive committee figures out whether everything is actually legal and we actually get the most updated copy up there. It doesn't stop us from working on a website if we want to set one up, but I'm just putting forth that maybe we want the most recent.
It doesn't, we're not stating when we're doing this. It's just, should we do this? Yes.
To speak to why we should or shouldn't do it, how much is it going to cost us? Now, when I asked Kevin Berner from AAM in 2011 how much it was going to cost, he gave me a ballpark number of $175 a month. He just said, I don't know. After that, they gave us the AAM website, which was completely incomplete. Even though it did have CCNRs and it did have the regulations were incomplete, the amendments were incomplete, the assessments were incomplete, the fines were incomplete, and you could have been the smartest person in the world and you wouldn't have gotten anything off of that website. So who is going to be in charge of making sure that everything on the website is up to date and is correct?
And there's liability.
And there's liability. Yeah.
Well, I go back to-
How much is it going to cost?
If I can go on the same vein, right now, what is PRM going to base their decisions on when someone calls them? The latest versions that we have. So I completely agree, we need the committee to go through to determine what votes are not reflected, to update our records so that we have the most complete records. Otherwise, PRM is flying on the same seat that we did with AAM or anyone else.
Well, then let's do that first and then do the website. I begged Kevin Berner for a website.
We've had
And
one.
what he gave us was
We've
awful.
had one for years, nobody goes on it. We
Well-
were paying for it through AAM, and then we were gonna cancel, and they did it for no charge, and we kept going back to it, and the
Well,
residents
I'll ask the
were
basic
not-
question then. Would anyone find it useful? You said when you came home from work
We
tonight.
thought it would be.
You saw the sandwich board, and it was like, oh, damn, that's tonight, I gotta come to a meeting. Would anyone else find it useful to have, with PRM, a website or a page at PRM that we could log into that would say, reminder, next week is your board meeting. Reminder, here is a location where all your rules and regs are. Again, we're not gonna move it up there tomorrow because it's gotta be cleaned up. But does anyone see the use in having a site? I do. I mean, does anyone think, okay, let me ask it a different way. Does anyone think it would be totally useless and a waste? Okay, we got
I don't know
two.
about totally,
I
but I
know-
think
I-
it would be wasteful. I mean, you said you can't live without it. I think it is something you can't live without. 20 years ago, nobody had websites and they called. We got good customer service, they called, they got the information. If I'm planning ahead and gonna buy a basketball portable thing to put out in my driveway, I'm gonna plan ahead on that. I'm just gonna randomly go to the store and buy it and then expect, I'm gonna call the management company, I'm gonna check with them, I'm gonna get, I don't know.
One of the reasons
I think
also
we can
why,
live without
I
it.
mean, just my spectrum of it is, I had lots of issues with them and their websites. And the other thing is they had a little person sitting behind a computer changing what you were reading and what you're seeing. So, one day you got something in there that says something, the next day it's got something that says something different, or maybe fines, or where they move money, or all that other stuff. I'd rather have a paper trail so we know where all that stuff is gone.
I oppose it, partly because PRM has said, we think we can do a better job. You call us and we'll answer. First of all, the website's not going to be generated in the next month or two. Meanwhile, let's see how they do. And let's see if there is interest in doing it. They're not going to do it, well, we're probably not going to approve paying them to do it. So it's going to take a committee and some people, I know there are some people that are capable of doing it. Then we'll play with it, and if it works.
I just hope one of the charters of the archive committee is to go through and collect the votes that are not reflected anywhere right now.
Well, okay, what we're going to say to them is, look for anything that you think we need to codify in some form, and put it in a pile, and then we'll deal with it.
I'm sorry, we have one more home? Yes.
I own property in 3 other HOAs, investment property. All of them have very robust websites. All the data's out there. All the meetings from the board meetings are out there. It's wonderful to be able to just go look stuff up whenever you want. We live in an internet age. I think it's ridiculous to not have a website. But there's been a lot of good points raised about quality of the content, maintenance of the content, and cost. So
if we don't have those things, it's not going to succeed.
Exactly. So
Well, let's give PRM a chance. Let's see if we can, if it works, and we can table this for a future meeting. Ken, you've got all the cards for homeowners meeting, or Kim?
Kim does. Our secretary is dealing.
Our homeowner session is open, so if you'd like to.
She's going to go through a few questions and.
All right, so on the trail between Black Hill and Cibola Vista, this is along that tract M, the one we were paying the $11.95 for.